Brace yourself folks, because graphics card prices have finally, more or less, fallen below their official MSRP. It only took around 18 months, but yeah, models from both AMD and Nvidia are not only available to buy right now, but they're being sold for, in some cases, significantly below MSRP in almost every major country. Here's the thing though, with prices finally returning to some kind of normality, is now the right time to actually go ahead and buy that brand new graphics card that you've been longing for? Or should you wait a little bit longer? Especially with new GPUs right around the corner. But before we get into that, here's a quick word from this video sponsor.
Andy, what are you watching?
It's not what you think.
Wow, it's so big!
Why, thank you. It's the new AOC AG493 UCX. 49 inches of pure performance and a refresh rate of 120 Hz. It's so fast. You can even do two at a time.
What?
You can connect two devices at a time and split the screen. With FreeSync Premium Pro, a 32:9 aspect ratio and a built-in KVM, you'll be finished in no time. Gaming, I mean. What did you think I mean? Get your mind out the gutter and click the link in the description to find out more. So buying now or waiting, it's honestly one of the hottest topics on our Discord at the moment when it comes to tech purchases, link in the description. So the big question is, should you buy a graphics card right now or wait just a little bit longer? Well, the short answer to that question still remains a somewhat frustrating, it depends. Not exactly helpful, is it? In truth though, there probably is a firm answer to this if you're willing to go deep enough down the rabbit hole as to what the pros and cons currently are. So let's see if we can take a look at all the factors currently at play and finally commit one way or the other as to whether now is the time to get your new GPU or if you're better off waiting even longer. Firstly, we think it's probably important to look at what has actually changed over the last 6 months, and specifically as to why the current graphics card situation is somewhat, dare I say, decent again. To come up with an answer to that, we need to look at how we got to this point and almost by proxy, what could potentially happen in the immediate to relatively near future to influence your decision. So starting with the biggest and fattest elephant in the room, cryptocurrency. Last November, the price of Bitcoin was at an all-time high of just under $69,000. Over the course of the last 6 months though, and particularly within the last few weeks, its value has been plummeting, with it currently wobbling around the $20,000 area. Seems that there's more than a little uncertainty in the market, which has led to a near total drop-off in industrial scale operations. The lack of confidence is in fact so high, or should that be so low, that recent reports have shown Chinese live streams popping up with former mining operations attempting to flog their GPU stock in an almost panic-driven fire sale. Up until this point though, it's hard to deny that the mining boom played a huge role in graphics cards ultimately not making their way to retailers. And if you want to know just how big this was, well, research suggests that in just the last 2 years, crypto mining operations spent, at a best educated guess I might add, over $15 billion on graphics cards. Sheesh. With order requests from that particular sector borderline non-existent at the moment though, this has resulted in a monumentally huge easing of demand. And with a lot less demand, graphics card stock has gone up and prices have come down. So that's one big reason why current gen GPUs are basically the cheapest they've ever been. The other, though, pretty much covers the point we're at right now. There's currently a huge amount of uncertainty among consumers like you and me as to exactly what the market might do next, and what we should or could be doing about it in terms of buying an upgrade. So let's try and break this down into some nice and simple points as to why you should buy a graphics card now, and then we'll take a look at why you should possibly consider hanging on a bit longer. The most obvious reason to buy a graphics card right now basically boils down to 2 key points. Firstly, they finally cost, depending on the exact model, about what they actually should. In fact, in many instances, and particularly so for high-end models such as the 3080 Ti, 3090 and 3090 Ti, many models are actually available to buy now for notably less than their so-called MSRP. Secondly, with us lacking a crystal ball into what the future may hold, it's entirely possible that prices could start to go back up again. It quite literally would only take another Bitcoin boom to kick off tomorrow, and although that's certainly not being predicted, this would all but guarantee that graphics card stock, supplies and prices would start to get problematic again. There you have it. The simple answer is that you should buy now because they're actually available at a somewhat reasonable price, and things could get bad again. But what about the case for holding off just a little bit longer though? Well, in comparison, this one is a bit more complicated, but let's try and tackle this point by point. The main one being that we're literally only 3 to 4 months away from the release of the Nvidia 4000 and AMD 7000 series of graphics cards. For what you could potentially spend on a 3080 Ti today, it could buy you a 4080 in November. Simple enough, right? Better still, we've heard pretty firm rumours that next-gen GPU stock is going to be decent. And more so, it's actually going to be sold right off the bat for its MSRP price. Next up, we have the overall bang for your buck. Based on research conducted by 3D Center, who you may recall has been compiling excellent GPU retail price tracking since the start of this year. While high-end models have been seeing pretty big price drops, more entry to mid-tier models are still providing a little more resistance at the checkout. With next-gen models on the horizon, however, AIB partners such as MSI, Asus, Gigabyte and others are not going to be too keen on hanging on to masses of current-gen stock at current-gen prices for too much longer. In a nutshell, an excellent reason to wait is that while prices are just finally dipping below MSRP, they could actually start falling even more around August-September time. And we're only saying could to cover our own backsides here. It's pretty much certain that current gen GPUs will get cheaper as the shadow of next gen model releases looms even larger. In fact, just to go on a slight but moderately related tangent, information has even recently appeared online suggesting that Nvidia has completely ended production of the 3080 12GB. Why? Well, because its price is remaining high while the 3080 Ti has fallen to kind of within being, in many instances, just $50 to $100 more expensive. A small leap of imagination maybe, but this says to me that even Nvidia doesn't seem to think the current price structure is, viable. Next up, we hit what we'll freely concede is a bit of a speculative point. We here at eTeknix are not experts on cryptocurrency. If we were, I wouldn't be standing here making this video. I'd be sipping my 4th Long Island iced tea of the day on my private island somewhere. But based on what supposed experts are saying, however, the overall value of cryptocurrency, and specifically Bitcoin, which tends to drive everything else up or down, is expected to enter a period of stagnation for at least until the end of the year. A factor that gives us a lot of hope that not only will current gen GPU models continue to drop in price, but that next gen models will actually be available at something representative of their MSRP on release. Finally, we have Intel. Lordy, 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 has it taken a long time? But within the next month or so, all going well, which it hasn't, their Arc desktop graphics cards are finally expected to be released. Yes, we know the A380 is already available to purchase in China, and yes, we know in terms of performance, especially gaming, it's looking to be bloody awful. We will, however, finally have our third player in the arena, and while we hope their higher tier models will offer better performance, this will help alleviate market pressure, and again help lower the overall market cost of a graphics card, no matter who it's made by. At best, it seems that Intel's top tier Arc graphics cards may only just about trade blows with the lowish end of current gen models from AMD and Nvidia. Given that this is, by a massive margin, the most competitive sector, however, Intel joining the party again will help the situation. So having gone through what we consider to be most of the key pros and cons, let's go back to that question. Should you buy a graphics card right now, or should you wait a little longer? Well, I think we can actually give you an answer on that. If you've been willing to wait this long to get one, we think it's probably wise that you should be willing to wait just a little bit longer. Unless you're absolutely desperate, wait until the initial release of the Nvidia 4000 and AMD 7000 series, and act accordingly. If they offer strong performance, good stock and at a reasonable price, get one of them. You'll almost certainly get more bang for your buck. If, however, you don't fancy any of the next gen models, or they end up having a bit more of a eye-watering MSRP than we're currently hoping, then some kind of deals will undoubtedly be available for current gen models as retailers look to move them on. And yes, when next gen GPUs arrive, we promise you that both AIBs and retailers will be highly motivated to shift what's left of their current gen stock pretty quickly. So yeah, although we're advising you to kind of wait, truth be told, we think that's probably the decision most of you already came to. In fact, we suspect that this is a conclusion many of you already probably came to many months ago. A key reason perhaps as to why Nvidia has had Founders Edition 3070s, 3070 Ti's, 3080 Ti's, 3090s and 3090 Ti's in stock for about 2 weeks solid now. Don't get us wrong though, if you feel that the time is right to get your long overdue GPU, go for it. There's every possibility we could have this entirely wrong, and in reality, waiting might not be the best option for you right now. Based on everything we've covered though, hanging on just a little bit longer just feels right to reward not just you, but your bank balance too. So if you decide to wait, just remember that before you press the power button on your PC, continue to say a silent prayer each day to your GPU. Come on buddy, just a little bit longer, please. Hang in there. And then go off and buy one. So there you have it. Let me know in the comments section below. Are you planning to wait a little longer? Or are you waiting for maybe the next gen graphics cards to arrive? Or are you going to buy it right now? Did you already buy one? Let me know. Hopefully this video has given you some indication as to what we think you should do. And let me know. Do you agree with me or do you think I'm completely talking out my ass? Either way, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, a like and a sub to the channel would be amazing. And if you love what we do, consider supporting us on Patreon, where you'll get a ton of benefits, including perks on our newly released Minecraft server. Happy days, right? And I'll see you in the next one. See you later, guys.